to the City Council and to this staff for making this event wonderful as always. We have the staff that is second to none, and certainly a council that has proven time and time again to take initiatives and I guess, pilot them, understand them, and then take action. And that's what we're here today on, is to celebrate a tremendous initiative that this council and this city has undertaken with this fiber opportunity. But at this time, I'd like to introduce the council members that are here as our patron, our mentor, our leader, and always the foreman of the word is Councilman Cochran. He is our longest tenured councilman. Mr. Cochran. And then, of course, we have Mayor Pro Tem Steinberg. And our lovely Councilwoman Bushman. Of course, I have to mention that and Shirley Dabney are not with us, but they certainly are here in spirit with us. Any other public elected officials in the House? I know everybody in this room is important to me, to your institution, to y'all's success. So I just take great pride in the council, because without them, we wouldn't be here with the success that we have to discuss today. So any other elected members in the House today? Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. He's going to, no disrespect to our mayor from Hampton. Chris, would you please stand? I apologize. Chris and I spoke. I should have known his presence is here. A big smile and always pleasant to be with him. There's just way too many folks here that to go on and on. We're going to get right to the meat of the matter, but the chamber, Ms. Kay Pittman, has to be acknowledged. I mean, there's so many other wonderful folks, but Kay's been a super help and a mentor is to me in a lot of conversations. So thank you, Kay, for your service. At this time, I mean, there's a great presentation. I just wanted to take a moment to give you some highlights. Of course, we're here to talk about a $15 million fiber private and public partnership. And we all know how important fiber is, because I guess we all had some fiber this morning when we ate, right? Okay. But there's also a downtown development initiative, the community grant partnership, the ARC signed ordinance, the Stockbridge Business Association, and then I'm going to field the Q&A at the end. And I wanted to say this, and I'm going to say it for everybody, make sure this resonates with you. Our initiative to do the Stockbridge Business Association in no way, form, or fashion is the initiative to belittle or undertake or undercurrent anything that this Chamber of Commerce does, this county does. We are, and everything that you hear us discuss today moving forward is going to be erasing boundaries, the city lines, the county lines, the regional lines. The thing that we're going to do through this initiative is very unique and different, and I'm going to encourage everyone who's in the City Business Association to certainly be a part of the county chamber and be part of the bigger pool, if you will. But that's something that I've been very passionate on and have not got instituted yet. But I want to be clear, especially with Kay and a lot of the chamber members in this room, that is not the intent of what we're moving on. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce to you David Miller, our city manager, and also BJ Mathis. They are catalysts in getting this initiative put together. We've been discussing it for quite some time, but David, I believe I'm going to hand this over to you to go more in depth into each of the initiatives, unless you're going to do the PowerPoint. I can elaborate. You look like you want a PowerPoint. Go ahead, PowerPoint. I'm going to talk it up for a minute. Go ahead. Here you go. Keep in mind, as we go through the PowerPoint, I'm going to be brief in some of this and just wanted to discuss it. And the reason for this breakfast, and thank you all, this proves something to me, is that at 7:30 in the morning, we've got interested, vested business owners and leaders in this community that are really passionate about rekindling that economic engine. We've been failing, I mean, not just here in the city, in the county and the state, but we all understand the economic downturn that's been going on for years now. But this shows me that we're hungry. You got to be focused, you got to be hungry to be successful. And so the leadership in this room and the things that we're going to be discussing today is just the tip of the iceberg and getting things lined up where we can connect the dots. But this is a $15 million private-public partnership between Community Broadband, and they are here today. That's the reason I've been to the state, county, chamber, and I've spoken to this initiative, and it's like every once in a while a light or two in the room will go off out of 30 people. I wanted to bring Alan in, the man that knows and understands what we're really doing conceptually, to give us a good drill down of what we're doing. So in just a moment, I'm going to introduce Alan and let him really talk to the specifics and to the size of what really is happening. A lot of people don't get the full grip of it. I'm confident after he speaks with us today that we're going to have a whole lot better understanding. But we're looking at somewhat a 38 job initiative just initially with what Alan and his firm is going to bring. You got a film? Okay, go ahead.
For a limited time, get 2 hearty Egg White Delight McMuffin sandwiches for only $3 at participating McDonald's. I'm loving it.
New tonight, there is a community that will soon have some of the fastest internet access in our state. The Stockbridge City Council just approved a $15 million upgrade that will give people there better internet access. CBS Atlanta's Veronica Griffin shows us where all that money to pay for it is coming from. Stephanie, that money is coming
from testing to improve our IT capacity.
Investing in infrastructure with hopes of people buying a much faster service.
I think we're going to forego that.
Oh, no. Can you hear it? That's the
I
question.
can't hear it. I don't know if anyone else can hear it.
All right. We're going to
Stockbridge with its new mega broadband deal. It's bringing faster internet and more bandwidth.
we'll forgo that part.
Local schools desperately need.
But without any further ado, we did have a few bells and whistles, but obviously they fell short. Mr. Alan Davis really doesn't need any introduction for those that understand infrastructure of IT, and I'm going to just turn it over to him to educate us and to lead us along with the initiative. I can go into all of his resume, but you can see that it takes 10 or 12 slides to even fit his accomplishments on that. But at this time, if you would join me in welcoming Mr. Alan Davis of Community Broadband.
Well, good morning. I'm very happy to be here in Stockbridge, Georgia this morning. Last Thursday in May 2013, I talked about this fiber project. After a 30-year career, I have developed certain skills and abilities and comprehension of what this kind of project can mean for a community like Stockbridge. And it's really more than a business opportunity for me. I have put a lot into my career. I've been proud of a lot of the projects I've worked on. And I want to take all my experience, bring it into this project, and showcase what this type of initiative can actually mean, both in terms of supporting the community that it's developed in, but also showing the long-term benefits of its development. So with that opening statement, I'd like to go through a few more details and use these slides to actually get me focused on some of the specifics I'd like to talk about. One of the reasons I'm here is because of the very thing that brought all of you here this morning, and that is this community support throughout the entire area. And what really piqued my interest was when I read the first 1 Henry report that came together in a collaborative fashion through municipal and local leaders in the community as to what the vision for this area was for the future. And when I saw that, I took a real interest in this area because I thought, wow, these people really get it. My entire life, I've driven down I-75 from the time I was a small child until some recent years, and had been aware that I was driving through here, but never really knew what this community was all about until I actually got off the interstate and started to get to know the people and started to understand what the potential was here. And so that overall was my first reason for actually getting focused on this community. Beyond that, I started to find out there were some extremely unique things going on. Of course, the collaborative effort of the cities in support of the area, working together with a common vision is huge. We obviously have a geographic element here as well, with proximity to a major metro area, major airport, interstate system. And I would say, although it's not up there on the slide, a lot of people don't realize that there is, I'm not sure if it's the most long-haul fiber capacity in the country, but there's a significant amount of long-haul capacity coming through this area right now. Both west of I-75 and east of I-75, and north and south, bringing connectivity from the coast and the port of Savannah and Savannah, Jacksonville, all the way down to Florida, north to the northeast in the major cities there, west to the west coast, right through this area. In fact, right through Stockbridge, and north of Stockbridge, and west of Stockbridge. But there are no off-ramps. There's no way to access it. And so in a very high level, we're building the off-ramps and the access to this extremely important long-haul infrastructure. So we can actually bring that fiber connectivity directly to businesses. And we're very fortunate in having the City of Stockbridge in a leadership position here to help initiate this. There are going to be a lot of other areas, both within the county here and within this region, that are going to benefit from their leadership and vision. And we're very fortunate to be here today to actually kick this thing off in a material way. We of course, look at this in a very similar fashion to the way the electric system was originally built, the way the telecommunication system was built many years ago, when cable service first came to the community, the system was constructed. And this type of infrastructure we're talking about is unique in that respect. There's nothing out there like it. There's nothing out there with the capability that it has, and it's truly a game changer. Also, of course, when I first got into this industry 30 years ago, no one could ever imagine that we would have ubiquitous broadband demand to the level that we do now, with mobile devices, with businesses relying on it so heavily, and it being basically an essential element of our daily lives like it is now. I remember back in the days when we first started launching cable TV systems, and how excited people were to get a few more channels. I think our first system, the first system I went in, I think we had 12 channels with a 5-channel tier. And that was just a huge deal. There's some of the same kind of things going on now when it comes to fiber connectivity and broadband. Some of the same kind of excitement is out there about this as the days when we first brought cable to people who've never had it before. Of course, I'm actually pretty happy to get away from the video side. So just to make it clear, we're not gonna, there's no HBO here, no Showtime, no ESPN, this is broadband. However, you can utilize it, go anywhere you want, and get any service you want, and bring down any kind of content that you can find. I will tell a quick story. Since I did spend a lot of my career in the cable industry, I sometimes digress into the cable stories. So I'm not going to have to worry about things happening like happened one time up in a little town in East Tennessee when we first brought cable to this community. this woman wanted service. And she said, now, you got that Showtime channel, right? And I said, well, yes, ma'am, we do. We have that channel. She said, well, that's the one with all those dirty movies, isn't it? And I said, well, yes, ma'am, there are R-rated movies in there. But they're usually on late at night. She went, son, I'll stay up. And the last time I saw her after she'd been installed, she went, man, I sure love that cable. I haven't slept in a week. So I'm really happy, actually, to be out of the contract business. So now we're simply in the service provision, broadband business, and customers are free to do whatever they want to utilize it in any way that they see fit to expand their businesses, enhance their opportunities uniquely. Beyond that, another huge motivator for me, and I have to get a plug into a new startup that I'm very proud of, that you'll hear more about in the future, and that is a company called US Education TV. You can go to the website, you can actually see what we've done in taking one school in southwest Georgia and expanding this to over 30 states now. It's an initiative where we've actually taken a broadband infrastructure platform. We've actually developed video production capability in schools and high schools. So that now they're doing live football games, live sporting events, graduation, plays, whatever's happening in those schools. And it's all being done live by the students, both in terms of production, the MC work, the editing, and it's offered ubiquitously around the world. We took Tift County High School, which I was able to get fiber connectivity to some years ago, and in a week, these kids did their first live football game. It was watched by people in 6 countries. We had soldiers overseas in Afghanistan watching kids playing football at Tift County High School on Friday night. So that is all enabled by a broadband connection. Can't do it without it. Schools in this area are desperate for more capacity. So this is a huge motivator for me. You have 51 school facilities out there. The capacity and the restrictions on what they can do is I can't use a better word than pitiful. It's just really, but we're gonna change that. We're gonna straighten that out. One of my main goals here is to bring fiber to every single school facility. I'm working directly with the Henry County Board of Education right now in that capacity, and we're going to get it done. Economic development follows. That's obviously a huge motivator here. There are more potential opportunities here in Stockbridge, in this area, than anyone realizes. And hopefully, through the development of the system, we can help make a lot of folks start to realize what the opportunities really are here, both in terms of the location and the pro-business support of the community leaders. There's clearly a huge upside opportunity on the economic development side. Public service, we're also planning to support public safety in a major way. The hospital and medical facilities are a huge priority for us. Employment opportunities and job creation comes after that. And then, of course, all sectors of the area and the economy and the community actually benefit from this type of project being undertaken. Overall quality of life in the area is what we're all about. You know, last night I was looking at a CBS story on what the fiber network in Chattanooga is meant for that city. And I'm really proud to have been involved in that project. And help me set it up, help define the vision and the capitalization of it, and really help get it up and off the ground, working with the Chattanooga Electric Power Board and the city of Chattanooga. What's interesting is that in the early days of the development of that project, cable TV, and they actually started out in the phone business first. They had a Class 5 switch, which is a huge telephone, switch, which is not even necessary to have anymore. Then they want to get in the cable business, then they want to get in the broadband business. Here all these years later, the one thing that they're showcasing, the only thing that seems to matter, it's not a few more channels for a little less money, it's that broadband capacity. It's that 1 gig capability that they can deliver to every single connected customer. It's 200 times the capacity you can get out there now in a typical connection, and that's a game changer. That is a huge deal. That is, it's almost beyond what you can describe. The only thing you can look at is what's happening. All these businesses are coming to town. All these new folks have an interest in the area now. They've gone from being one of the dirtiest cities back in the 60s to turning that whole area around, where now they have so much to promote. But what's unique about it is this fiber network has helped them showcase their entire community. And that's what we're going to see happen here. And that's one of the things that will ultimately enhance the quality of life for the citizens of the community. You guys have seen most of these details. I'm a very plan-oriented person. I've been working on this initiative now for over 3 years. I have we collectively, me and members of my team, have put a lot of effort into defining this, determining exactly how we want to deploy it, and actually laying out our plan so that we got a sustainable initiative that makes sense both in terms of the services that we provide and the support we provide our customers, but also is financially sustainable and feasible long term. So we've gone through a very detailed due diligence phase. Now we're ready to start construction. We're in the first stages of that in a material way, securing all of our contracts, permits, engineering design, and we'll move forward to launch the system in the fourth quarter of 2014. This is the backbone of the network, and of course, not reflected in this map are all that is the key elements of the system where we're actually making direct connections to businesses. Now, one other thing I want to mention here, just to make sure we're clear on this, is that we are establishing fiber connectivity to the major pop in the southeast, the point of presence where all the fiber connections come together at 56 Marietta Street in downtown Atlanta. That's a very important part of this project. It's important for a lot of reasons, but the most important thing is we're actually taking the long-haul off-ramp and we're not just building a ramp, we're actually taking that long-haul off-ramp and moving it directly here to Stockbridge. So we'll have a pot that will become as significant here as 56 Marietta on the southeast side of Atlanta. We'll have fiber infrastructure extending out from this location directly tied here. We'll be accessing the major pop in Jacksonville, and this will actually be a center hub in this region, serving a much larger area with fiber direct connections to businesses, which will be unlike any other system in the country or anywhere as far as I know. And of course, that will be reflected over time in the services that will be provided the business will take advantage of. So you're going to hear more and more about this, obviously, once businesses actually begin to take advantage of it. But you will see businesses already taking an interest in this simply because of the concept of being developed. It's such a big deal. This is this is business stuff. This is not really a lot of fun to talk about. This is what we have to do to plan. We have to look at the timeline. We have to have objectives. We have to have a budget. We have to have service levels and pricing and installation procedures, and all this stuff has to happen. And in addition to that, I will say that we have brought together many pieces and many other companies to work with us on this project. Right now, I'd probably say that there are 12 other companies, I would say, in the middle of supporting us. We're in the lead. We're the ones capitalizing the project. We have a number of other companies that are actually connected to this in various ways. and then also potentially even becoming users of the service and the system themselves. So it's a collaborative effort, it's a team effort. That's what we found here in Henry County and this Stockbridge area when we first got here. One Henry got it all started, and now we're realizing the benefits of that through the development of the system, and we are happy to be here. So thank you all for having me this morning. I know some of you, I want to know the rest of you, and I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Still got to digest all that. I mean, it's just amazing when he says that, you know, there's nowhere else in the country that's going to be able to mirror or has this exact type of infrastructure. That still takes a minute to settle in if you think about it. So, basically, with that being said, I mean, there's going to be a lot of Q&A time. Hopefully, there's going to be a reasonable amount of Q&A time at the end. But at this time, I do want to bring B.J. Mathis forward. She's going to speak to, and she's going to be our point lady on the Downtown Development Authority, which is going to be governed by a 7-member board of directors that will undertake public improvements that will have the greatest impact in strengthening the downtown area and attracting private investment. And as you can see, what was just presented will well on our way. Keep in mind, I'm going to continue to reiterate and bore you to death with this. Erasing city lines, county lines, we got to have a region 3 and even larger vision to be successful and make all of us, the entrepreneurs and the businesses, the success that we want to see in Stockbridge and beyond. So, BJ, let's talk about DDA.
Well, good morning, everyone. And you thought that this was the only thing we were going to be talking about this morning was the fiber optic project that's going on. But I'm going to tell you, we've got a lot of exciting things going on in Stockbridge. And thanks to the progressive and visionary leadership of the mayor and council, you need to keep your eyes on Stockbridge because good things are really happening up here, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're very, very excited that the mayor and council have moved forward in basically reinstituting the Downtown Development Authority. It will be working in conjunction with this fiber initiative to help bring new development into the city of Stockbridge. We understand that 69% of the people within Henry County commute outside of our borders every day to go to work. We want to stop that here in Stockbridge, and we think fiber is going to help us bring those higher paying jobs to our community so our citizens can enjoy a better quality of life and find employment right here at home. And so as the mayor and council were considering the appointments to the Downtown Development Authority, they kept an eye and a mind to the fact that we needed very progressive leaders on that board that would mimic what was on the council. And so they selected some very high qualified individuals that we're extremely fortunate that they've agreed to serve. And I'm going to introduce each one of them to you. And if they're here this morning, some may be coming in a little bit later, closer to 9 o'clock. They're going to be sworn in this morning. But if you're here and I call your name, I'm going to ask you to stand up so people can go ahead and start seeing you, and they'll be seeing a lot more of you. But the first person I'd like to introduce is Rocio Camacho. And Rocio is an insurance agent and a tax preparer with ROC and Associates, and she's in the back of the room, and we're certainly very glad to have her on board with the DDA. And if you get an opportunity to speak to her after the breakfast this morning, I think you'll agree that the mayor and council made an excellent choice. So thank you for being here this morning. The next individual on the 7-member board is Richard Dick T, and he is construction product sales with Orion Associates, and he's here also in the center of the room, and we're very appreciative of his willingness to serve the community of Stockbridge. Thank you. Ron Castillo, who is the owner of Las Portales Sports Bar and Grill in the back of the room, someone who's very passionate about Stockbridge and has been working for a number of years to help promote this area, and we're excited to have him on board as well. Rob Bell, who is the marketing president for Hamilton State Bank. He's familiar to many, many people in this room, and again, we're just very fortunate to have someone of his caliber And Vivian is the CEO of Tulu Peas Incorporated here in Stockbridge. And again, someone that you're going to be seeing a lot of certainly in the years to come. Someone that you're probably all very familiar with is Robin Bushman. And Robin is a partner and manager of Ibsen's Deli and Cafe, and also a Stockbridge City Councilwoman. And very excited that she has agreed to serve. And Robin is one of these people that she has so many irons in the fire, but yet she was willing to take on one more. And we're so very thankful that she's agreed to serve in this capacity. And last but not least, one of our all-time favorite people here in Stockbridge is Mr. J.T. Williams, consultant with Learn Incorporated. And for those of you who may not be familiar with one of the small projects that he had a hand in here in Stockbridge, he's the one that's responsible for Eagles Landing Golf and Country Club, that beautiful development that put Henry County on the map many, many years ago, a great man of vision. And he also serves on the Georgia Regional Transportation Authority and will be a tremendous asset to this community. So we have a lot of other great things. If that's not enough, we have a lot of other great things going on this morning that we're going to share with you, that you will be excited about. And our city manager, Mr. David Milliron, is going to come up and he's going to tell you about some other initiatives that are underway as we speak. Thank you.
Thank you, BJ. Good morning. It's always great to be here and chat. You all get to eat. Staff has to wait till you all clear out as we make presentations, and that's all good because then I don't have to worry and say, do I have anything in my teeth? So I want to talk to you about some exciting things going on in the city of Stockbridge. The first is the Community Partnership Grant Program. This is an initiative of the Mayor and Council where they set aside in the current 2013 budget $100,000. The purpose and initiative here is that in the past, we have utilized city staff to run every single event in the city. Did an excellent job. But we have core facilities such as this conference center that also has to be run. And we look at being good stewards of the taxpayers' money and making sure that this facility continues to operate and it doesn't have to make money, it simply just has to break even. So the Mayor and Council and charge staff to evaluate the budget and be creative. And what came out of some of that brainstorming was this partnership grant program. The real focus is that BJ had mentioned some initiatives that are coming forward. The mayor alluded to it, and I'll get to it in just a moment. But at the core of Stockbridge's heart and soul is its business community. I have seen that where communities have fun, they thrive. Where communities focus on their businesses, the community thrives. As the community thrives, so does the economic vitality of the community, and the community grows in leaps and bounds. We're talking our schools. We're talking about our facilities. We're talking about our faith-based community. Everything thrives when folks have fun. So the focus of this grant program, it's actually an economic development initiative. It's a grant program. We have a deadline coming up, which I'll mention in just a moment, but it's designed to bring in individuals to Stockbridge and or run events that are of great interest to the city. We'll be the first to admit, as city staff, we're not the best at marketing. We do as good a job as we can, but we don't have the resources that we can tap into. So I'm going to tell you about an initiative in just a second that tapped the first grant, the first $5,000 off this, and accomplished what the council really means for this $100,000. And that is that if you can bring people into Stockbridge and you can actually have an event, they learn about Stockbridge, they spend money in Stockbridge, and then as that One Henry initiative, we all benefit. Many folks aren't aware that in the city of Stockbridge, there are zero Zappo, city property taxes. Folks who live in this community do not pay city property taxes. And the reason we're able to do that is that one Henry initiative that the mayor alluded to. So the more folks that can come in and be new to the community and spend money in the community, that's tax dollar money, that's sales tax. And that sales tax is equally divided in a agreed upon percentage with the cities and the county. And that's how we're able to run an efficient government and provide such services. These initiatives, again, I said staff is great at marketing, but we had events where you would get 10, 15, 20 people show up. We wanted another approach, another way. The council said it doesn't make sense when you look, your business folks, when you look at the return on investment or the ROI or the P&L statements, if you put $20,000 in an event, you only get 75 people, you just as well give the money away and not do it at all, because you have the cost, you have the staff, you have the facilities. So they threw $100,000 at it as a grant application program and said, apply, bring us your best ideas for promoting development, economic development, cultural events, projects within the community. The first grant applications had already been received, had already been vetted, and we had awarded the first grant of $5,000. This first $5,000 is earmarked for marketing, meaning that they can only use the money to promote their event. The more you promote the event, the more people that come into their event. This was a joint initiative that started back in February, where the Rock Quarry corridor wanted to promote themselves. So two business owners got together, one who sells beer and wine, growlers, as I like to call it, barley wine. The other was Bertalde's, the Mexican restaurant. And they got together and they came up with a concept. They approached Councilwoman Bushman, who's now in the Downtown Development Authority, and then collectively they pulled together our economic development team, and we met at the restaurant and we brainstormed for an afternoon, a couple hours, and then we left as staff and said, call us with whatever you need. It started there and it mushroomed, and more businesses got involved, and the entire event took off. And then they filled out an application and permit. It went before council, and the council backed it up. They asked for $5,000. They were awarded $5,000. And now you're starting to see this event promoted, which I encourage all of you to get your tickets because they're selling quick. They're $10. The event is on Saturday, June 15th. It's going to be in the parking lot of Bertalde's, and it's the Rock Quarry Brew Fest. Do you think it might bring some tax dollar money into this community? Do you think that folks will start talking about Stockbridge? Absolutely. And no staff involvement. No staff involvement. We want more of those events to come out of our business community. We want to be able to promote those. So this is a huge initiative. Like I said, there's $95,000 left in it. There's actually a deadline of May 31st for the next round of funding, so that's Friday. The grant applications are on our website. Our staff's available to answer all questions and help you get those applications filled out. Yes, I even had a call yesterday, and they're making a mad dash for Friday. I'm pretty certain they're going to make it. It's not a hard application. It starts with ideas, the who, what, when, where, how much you want, how much it's going to cost to run the event. Fill it out. Bring it to us. Staff reviews it. There's also, the mayor has appointed an outside group that also reviews it. They come collectively with the recommendations, and then they make recommendations to the mayor and council, and ultimately the mayor and council that dictates where the rest of that $95,000 will go. All right, this is another initiative that is tailored right to the business community. This is an initiative that started out of our economic development team, where we actually applied for what's called a technical assistance grant. We were awarded the technical assistance grant. And the first question that comes up is, and the media is good for this, well, how much is this grant for? Because they always think in money. Look to your right, look to your left. Look at your neighbor for a second. All right? Do you think there's some talent in this room? You betcha. You can't put a price tag on that kind of talent. I mean, just imagine spending 15 minutes of running a proposal by J.T. Williams and getting a thumbs up or thumbs down. Can you put a price tag on that? So this is exactly what we have here. We have a technical assistance grant where the Atlanta Regional Commission is going to bring staff to the city of Stockbridge. They're going to work with a stakeholder group that is going to be a mix of folks from our Downtown Development Authority, our staff, our business association, members of the community, and the business community, the Stockbridge Business Association. And collectively, over about a 6-month period, we will completely rewrite the sign ordinance. How many of you in here are a business owner and have ever had angst with getting a permit or trying to put up a sign in any community? Don't be shy. Come on. Come on. I know you're out there because I get your calls. I know. Well, this is your opportunity to have a voice, and there will be public hearings. But this stakeholder group will basically be your representatives of the city. And this is not only our commercial sign ordinance, but our residential. There are, let's just say, funny things in our sign ordinance. Here you have a picture of the mayor. This is an initiative. These are these night signs, these illegal signs that show up at every intersection. The mayor has waged war on these signs because they make our city look trashy. And Stockbridge is better than that. Did you know that since mid-February, through a 6-week period of trying to educate the public on the fact that these signs were illegal, that our code enforcement staff picked up nearly 800 illegal signs off of our roadways here in Stockbridge. And we're only like 13.4 square miles. Over almost 800 signs. So there's an initiative that actually has turned the playing field upside down against these folks who put up illegal signs. If there's an illegal sign in the city's right-of-way on one of our major roads, code enforcement photographs it, captures the latitude and longitude, captures the time, the date, all that great metadata that's available in photographs. It is then sent in and it automatically goes into a database. And there's a phone number on every one of those signs. And up to 20 times a day, they get a phone call with an automated recording. And that phone call does not stop until 2 things happen. 1, you remove all of your illegal signs from the city of Stockbridge. And then 2, you come in and clear the code enforcement violation. So, unfortunately, you make 2 trips to the city. When you come in and you visit us, you're handed, unfortunately, a citation that is minimum $200, maximum $1,000, and up to 60 days in jail. Now, whatever the judge does is up to them in the court. But the reality is you won't make that mistake twice. This is a city that aggressively educated for 6 weeks through every medium we have, including Facebook, our email blast, our newsletter, every medium we had available to educate folks that these signs were illegal. And then the city turned the tide. And believe it or not, in the first week, I think they issued something like 20 citations. The city does not want to issue citations, but again, if you're going to violate the ordinance and trash the city, the mayor's going to make sure that the message is clear. Not in this city. So this local stakeholder group will review all aspects of our sign ordinance, whether it's commercial, whether it's residential. I mentioned that there are some weird things in our sign ordinance. For instance, you have to get a permit to have a yard sale. Everything is open playing field for the stakeholder group to sign ordinance in this community is reflective of good taste while also meeting the business needs of our community. And then more important, to streamline the process so that you know what you can do and you can go down and get it done in a timely fashion. So it's a very, very important initiative. We estimate the value to the city between $50,000 to $100,000 for this. The next initiative that I'm going to talk about is our Stockbridge Business Association. As the mayor alluded, this is not to replace the Chamber of Commerce. This is about bringing networking resources to our community. For instance, I can very well easily see that the Stockbridge Business Association being at the nucleus of every single event that happens in this city moving forward. That there ought to be a Stockbridge Business Association tent. That if you're a licensed, registered business, that you can partake in that tent. You can distribute your information. You are at the core of taking that $100,000 and actually putting on events. Because what resources and talent you bring, mixed and mirrored with $100,000, can do great things in the city. And that's exactly what the mayor and council want. So we're launching this as a networking opportunity. It's going to give our businesses a voice in everything that the city does. We anticipate that the meetings will be monthly and that city staff will attend all of those. And always our elected officials will always be welcome to attend because they're there to listen, get feedback, so that when they're making decisions and they're representing the best interest of the city, it's truly reflective of a united voice of our business community. A lot of benefits for joining this initiative: increasing your business visibility. The city has lots of marketing vehicles. Some of you picked up a copy of our city newsletter. If you didn't, a copy of it is online. The next edition is out in July. Very affordable advertising, by the way. But the Business Association will highlight businesses. You'll be able to be listed in the business directory on our website. If you're doing special promotions, you'll be able to tap in to the city's marketing efforts through its email blast, its Facebook, its website. I can go on and on about all of the initiatives. I think with one button, we hit tens of thousands of people. In fact, one announcement we sent out recently, within the first week, it hit over 30,000 people. Over 30,000 people. And they cost them a penny. Website exposure, I mentioned. Education opportunities, where we'll actually have programming for the business community. We're going to bring in the Small Business Association. We'll bring in the local colleges and universities. We'll tap in folks that are in the business community that are gurus at marketing and help the business community grow. And more importantly, we want to help foster and grow even our smaller businesses to be bigger businesses. The city has already started work on an initiative for an opportunity zone that's going to bring tax credits, for instance, to every business in this community. There are lots of initiatives that are afoot here. The mayor is working on an initiative that he's going to bring to the council in July, which is going to be what's called a local preference policy and ordinance in our procurement. And that way, if we do competitive bidding on items, if you're a local Stockbridge business owner and you are competing and you do not become the lowest bidder, as long as you're within a certain percentage and you match that lowest bidder, you're going to get the business. Now, obviously, the mayor plans to present that in the July work session and then the voting meeting. If you all think that's a great idea, talk to the mayor and then reach out to your elected officials here in the city of Stockbridge. Neighborhood cohesiveness, being able to, again, promote businesses within your local communities, working alongside other Stockbridge businesses. Just imagine, you've got Rob Beal sitting in the audience, and you're thinking about maybe you need to expand your business. He's on the Downtown Development Authority. You think you can't say, hey, Rob, can you just give a glance over my financials, tell me what I need to do, what I'm missing? That's called synergy. That's the networking. I mentioned the voice, and there's so much more to this. Now, I've mentioned a lot of initiatives I've said has perked your curiosity, whether it's the sign ordinance and that stakeholder community, whether it's the grant application, whether it's getting involved with the Stockbridge Business Association, please fill out that card. Staff is going to collect that information. You can certainly hand it out to us on your way out. It's going to give us an opportunity to get you on the short list and get you interacting with staff. At the end of the day, as city manager, and for most of you that don't understand, the mayor, this is a strong mayor form of government. And I get my delegated authorities through the mayor. My role here at the city is to run the day-to-day operations. The staff ultimately is my staff. They are an awesome staff. They do a great job. They bust their butts. I love it when someone calls and gives a compliment of the staff. Too often we hear the negativity. But this is a staff that goes and works hard. And I'm not just talking about the planning staff, the economic development staff, all the way down to our water and sewer and sanitation. Those are critical things. You know, water, rain, sleet, snow. The sanitation still gets picked up. Your water still gets delivered. So next time a city staffer does something awesome, reach out, let me know, send us an email, send it to the council. The council is your representatives, they create policy, they've got the financial responsibility. We're on the implementation side. We take their policy and we make it happen. So with that, again, thank you for coming, and I'm going to hand it back over to the person of the hour, Mayor Mark Alarcon.
Thank you, David, for that presentation. And again, for everyone that has attended today, you've heard a lot of things discussed at a quick pace, and there's a whole lot more building down that can be done. And I just encourage you to fill that information card out. You see our information here. We're available to you as business owners countywide. You know, that's the whole thing, is that we want economic development to be done, you know, locally. But if it's not shored up at a local level, you can't build upon it, you know, at a regional level. So we're trying to get that accomplished. And like I said, I know one thing too. We talk about the city. We're here to talk about the city. I know from talking with Kay and also Steve Cash, you know, with the quality of growth. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things going on in Henry County. Totally. I mean, so we're here to brag about, talk about, and articulate our passion to you about the city of Stockbridge. That's why we're hosting this. I kind of sat there and was listening. I said, man, we sure are too. Don't know about today. But you know what? We can't do it without our citizens, and without our businesses, and all the buy-in that we have with this great breakfast. It's a good turnout. 7:30 in the morning, 85 plus people showing up to listen to what's going on locally. That speaks to what I said earlier, that thirst, that passion, that hunger to get the ball rolling again. And let's do something fun and exciting here in the city and ultimately countywide and regionally. I've asked BJ if you would, I know you can't stay in the back. Come up with us, BJ, if you would, and be available, David, Alan, myself, for any questions. We got, about 15 minutes maximum, but I know we've talked about a lot of different initiatives. We probably skipped 10 things that you're interested in, so I'll entertain any questions at this time. Come on, talk to us, folks. Is there anybody awake? Kane's awake.
I'll warm you up a bit. No, Mayor, not a question, but just to say that I think anyone would be blind not to recognize that what you've done with fiber optic is the stuff of which legacies are built. And when people look back and they think about the infrastructure in this community, they're going to think about I-75, they're going to think about the airport, they're going to think about the excellent water system we have in Henry County, and they're going to think about fiber optic that you put here. So congratulations for your leadership.
Well, thank you so much, Kate, for that. It's a very well stated statement. It is a legacy opportunity, but it's just something that I feel like we're blessed to be a part of with the council and with the staff that you see here before us. It's just been a 3-year effort on Alan's part, and about a shorter period of time, because his team did such an excellent job, not a good job, they did an excellent job with bullet pointing the absolute need and how it was going to happen. Point, counterpoint, presentation to the city, and once we gave it to the council, it was not a very difficult decision. Let me say, let me back up from that. It is a difficult decision because of its enormity and its size and what have you, but it was a no-brainer ultimately after we discussed it because it was so well presented. So thank you, David and BJ, and of course, Alan, for your preparation and bringing it forward. So with that said, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to take a dovetail on the comment a moment ago about the impact I think that this could have on Stockbridge, fiber optic. And my question would be to any of the good folks up there is, as Alan mentioned, he's been involved in other types of initiatives like this. And how dramatic has the economic impact been to cities or municipalities that have done this type of initiative? And what have been the biggest components of that change in growth?
Well, as you well know, speaking at a high level, we can get into specifics, but without any doubt, without any question, every single time a company's talking about locating somewhere, they take it for granted they're going to have electric service. They take it for granted they're going to have even road access and water. The thing that sets communities apart is their fiber optic infrastructure and broadband capacity. And that is not taken for granted. It is extremely vital. And for any community going forward to grow over the next 10 years, they're going to have access to a good solid infrastructure to support those businesses that come in and locate. On top of that, it makes a huge difference relative to growing existing businesses that are in a community and create opportunities for them that they didn't even know were potentially available to them. And this is happening after they've determined where they're going to locate and how they're going to operate their businesses. So you'll see all kinds of homegrown things begin to happen that nobody even anticipated. That's another benefit.
To just expound on that a little bit, as Kay knows, and different ones that attended, we as a county just went down to the Synergy Center downtown Atlanta. That's the hub of the economic engine and mindsets and all of the brainstorming that goes on. They were catalysts with the Caterpillars and Baxters and a lot of the success stories that we've had this past year. But to that question, we don't hear about it. You're not going to hear about it. And nobody's going to hear about the opportunity because of the 80-20 rule. They look at these things and assess these opportunities at the state level, and it's an 80%. If you don't match 80% of what Alan just alluded to, the water, the power, something that's real superfluous. Just everybody's got a little of that. But once you get to that 80-20 rule, you've got a little bit more of that 20%. And that's what we've just done. We've closed that 80-20 down to a 95-5. I mean, really and truly, because we have a tremendous water accessibility. The Henry County Water has water. We've got Georgia Power. We have representatives of EMC, Stamping Shoals here. We have power. We've got all the other 80%ers. This was out there in the closing document, and the real lure to attract the businesses. And I know that what we learn in these classes, it says loose lips sink ships. So I'm not going to speak in specifics, but when you have this situation aired on 2, 5, and 11 locally, and you go to the business chronicles, and in 2 days you get calls from California, North Carolina, Florida, Tennessee. I'm sorry, we did something right. Can't talk to the specifics, but people see what we're doing, and they understand that little piece of 80-20, and now what we've done, what we're going to have soon available to them, is come in and open shop and not have to be coming out of pocket with those upstart costs that a lot of businesses will have to do if we didn't have those infrastructures ready for their business.
And just to follow up on that, I've been involved in local government here in the county for almost 9 years now. And, the question has always been, why do we not have the higher paying jobs? Why don't we have the tech jobs in Henry County like reason why. And I didn't really understand that until I got involved. And the companies today must have this technology. If you are sitting at home and you're trying to transmit a large document or a file, and you're going to understand what I'm saying if you live in this community, you have to sit there and you have to wait and wait and wait and wait for a simple document to be uploaded that you can send out. Well, when you have companies that are using video technology, or you have a medical facility that's having to transmit x-rays and things of that nature, they cannot devote a countless amount of time sitting there watching their computer trying to transmit this information. The infrastructure simply is not here. And every year when the Chamber holds the Star Student Breakfast, we have some extremely intelligent students that are graduating from our school system. Kay always asks them the question, will you come back to Henry County after college? And every time you get the same response, I will if there is a job opportunity. And I know a student, and I've shared this before, and this is personal to me. My daughter is dating a young man that just graduated from Georgia Tech with a degree in computer science. He was hired by the new GM operations up on the north side before he even walked and got his graduation diploma. He had a job, and he came to us and he said, I'm moving to the north side. He said, I will not commute 46 miles one way to my job. And so as a result of that, once they get married, my daughter, who is a graduate of Mercer with a 4.0 GPA, some of our brightest students right here in Henry County, will be moving to the north side. So we're losing something very valuable here in this community that we need to keep here. When they say game changer, that is not an understatement. As a matter of fact, that probably doesn't go far enough to tell you what that means for this community. This has changed the dynamics for the South Side. We're going to begin to bring those jobs here. We're going to begin to keep our intellectual powers here within the county. And our people are going to experience a higher quality of life because this mayor and council said, look, we're ready to see things change on the South Side. We're ready to stand up and be a city that is going to put a new face on the South Side of Atlanta. And Stockbridge is leading the way, and I'm so excited to be a part of this because it truly is going to be a monumental change for the South Side of Atlanta. And you cannot really begin to explain just what it means from an economic standpoint, but just as one other thing to mention is in less than 24 hours of this council taking action, we got our first phone call from a tech company that was looking at the city of Stockbridge. And we anticipate that as the word begins to travel, we're going to see more and more of that. And that means more jobs for our people, that means a stronger tax base, it means a better quality of life, and it is a win-win-win all the way around. And if you get an opportunity to thank this mayor and council for taking that bold visionary step, I encourage you to do so, because this is really a profound moment for this community.
Kind of hard to follow up with that. But one thing that Ann Allen and I had talked about at one time is that, put it in perspective, everybody talks about it. She just alluded to the Alpharetta. 600 IT jobs are based, not jobs, but companies. 600 IT companies are based in Alpharetta. The enumerated ones are divided between Cumberland, Cobb, and Gwinnett. The base that we're putting here dwarfs those capacities. So you do the math. I mean, we do, it's going to take the implementation, you showed that on PowerPoint, but that kind of puts it in perspective. If they have 600 companies, and we all know how beautiful and how elegant and how well paid those, Alpharetta folks are. And I'm not hating on them. They've done a really good job doing their thing. But why not Stockbridge? Why not south of I-20? And so with that being said, I'll entertain another question. But I think this is really the reason for the breakfast was for us to come together as a community and really try to talk about, we've been to the Synergy Centers, we've been to the governor's just yesterday, a leadership forum. I was there, we talked about this, and it's that light bulb. It's hard to really resonate what is going to take place here and understand it and
10 years, and to see the Stockbridge that was here a year and a half ago versus the Stockbridge now, and hearing you and BJ and everybody say we, I've heard we more this morning than I have in forever. I think we all see what having a fully functional mayor, council, and staff can do. We see so much positive about Stockbridge in paper every single week. And I think we need to applaud all of you guys for doing what needs to have been done for a long time.
There's a lot of kind words from folks and the supporters, and I appreciate that very much. But it goes back to teamwork. I mean, if anybody's visited my office, I mean, folks have heard this, it's all about teamwork. I play ball, that's all I know. An athlete from the ground up. Can't tell about my midsection these days, but it's all about teamwork. So that's something that I think is inherent in me as a person. But this council has bought into their own leadership skills. I respect every one of them. We talk about things. There's not me, myself, and I mindset as a mayor or as a council member. We are truly a team, and we respect each other. We're all elected officials, and we're here to serve you in this community. So, any more comments or questions that we can assist with any of the different things, not just the fiber, but like Kay said, this is a legacy, and that I'm just thankful and fortunate to be a part of. And I can't wait to continue to get those calls from all over the country, because if 600 companies are in Alpharetta, they'll come to Stockbridge, I assure you, because anybody in their right mind, think about this. Stockbridge, is what, 15 minutes from my door to the Delta terminal. 20 minutes if you run into a couple of lights. Go to Alpharetta any time of the day or night from Atlanta Hartsville. You're talking an hour and a half. I mean, it's beautiful. The quality of life that Alan alluded to. That's what we're trying to, and we're going to do successfully here in Stockbridge.